Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the L1 show. May the 5th be with you, even though that's not the holiday.
Never get tired of that joke.
We do it every year.
Nonsense section today. Also AI.
4 or 5 times a year, most years.
And OpenAI, we got to say they're the leader, right?
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
got there
absolutely.
first. Everybody's using their product the most.
Being number one. Even if they bought their way to number one.
So popular, in fact, that I believe they're spending something like $250,000 a day to keep that puppy running with all those free demo accounts. So how do you make money on that?
OpenAI previews business plan for ChatGPT and launches new privacy controls.
Privacy controls being important because people figured out that as they're playing with OpenAI's ChatGPT, it's learning from them. They might not like that. You might not like the dark secrets that you discuss with your AI being then factored into the AI from then on.
What do you think this growth is? I was like, this other user's asking me about his growth. It's really funny. Do you want to see it? It's like,
Oh, it's my AI. It's made for me.
So they got the $20 a month one, and then they had their API pricing, which was actually pretty reasonable. And now there will be even more pricing for corporate users and big users, stuff like that.
well, it's an AI dungeon with a good Dungeons and Dragons AI as the dungeon master is a lot of fun.
One thing that might throw a bit of a wrench into those plans, though, is the open source AIs, which these things are very expensive. If you can put together some hardware to make your own, probably makes sense, right? And it seems like more and more we're getting the data sets to get there.
Stability AI launches StableLM, an open source ChatGPT alternative. The 3B and 7B models are available on GitHub under a Creative Commons 4.0 license. There's also a 12 billion parameter model on Hugging Face that I wrote a guide to get up and running via Docker. It's on the Level1 forums, and people are using the crap out of it.
And
It's surprising.
25 billion coming soon from these guys.
Well, the 25 billion one is based on metas, and there's some licensing disputes, and so that's why they didn't post it yet.
Well, find a download link for it.
Yeah, if you DIY Meta's LLM, you can use it with this, which is okay. It's probably about as good as ChatGPT 3.5, but honestly, the 12 billion parameter model is very impressive. If you ask it about literally anything on Wikipedia, it's very good.
But further training is needed, and that
Yeah.
will be the case for the rest of our existence. And the data, the whole thing about sharing data, it used to be like, oh, let's share the user data for advertising. Now it's going to be, let's share the user data for training the AI. Everybody is shutting down. We got Reddit, Imager, there was one more, right? The big names. But you can add Stack Overflow to the list.
Stack Overflow is willing to entertain selling access to its data for training. Can't get the headline.
That's good. They're going to charge for the API access. So right now, you could crawl it for free. No longer.
Womp womp.
There's a lot of bad. I wonder if they'll differentiate between like the downvoted answers and the upvoted answers, because there's a lot of bad information on Stack Overflow.
There is, yeah.
And here is a question. Would an AI scraping bot count as a robot? If you have an IQ in the double digits, you would say yes. Obviously it is. And so websites already have a header that says, hey, robots aren't allowed here. Don't go here if you're a robot. This guy created a program and he was like, that doesn't apply to me.
An AI scraping tool is overwhelming websites with traffic, which is ignoring robots.txt and other robots directives to say robots not welcome. You can opt out, but I mean, come on.
This guy's being a jerk.
Yeah.
He's doing it on purpose.
He's created his own directive and he's like, oh, you just have to put this in there and then I won't crawl. And they're like, bro, we've never heard of you.
Right,
Until-
and then it becomes a game then at that point of different creators doing that same thing. Well, if you put in my particular thing.
We never heard of you until you were literally breaking our windows out trying to get in the shop.
Yeah. It's DDoS at that point, right?
It is, yeah. He mentioned one of the people they interviewed in this article said that he had to get like special protections and like up some stuff because it was causing so many problems.
That guy is having this argument on his GitHub page and he sounds like a real piece of work.
Yeah. That's what the internet's going to be, though. It's going to be by bots for bots.
Pretty soon he's going to write a bot to argue with the real people, and then those people
Yeah.
will write a bot to argue with his bot.
And then the bots will destroy us all. And a lot of people have made this argument. They're like, we need to be really careful about AI. We have to step back because we don't know what it's going. Meanwhile, Peter Thiel is sitting here saying, I know, let's just let it burn.
Palantir demos AI to fight wars, but says it will be totally ethical. Don't worry about it.
It's a little bit of editorializing, but in this case, I'm okay with it.
If you only read one story, you should go read this in screenshots. I can't believe this is public information. This is crazy.
And yeah, they're okay with it. They're like, oh yeah.
I mean, it seems like it's very effective, but it seems like it's very effective to the point that it's like, this has got to be some kind of propaganda because it just doesn't work this well.
So the crazy thing about this demo is that the human in it, now we always make the rule like, it can't just be a robot making life and death decisions, right? There has to be a human who touches the button and makes the decision. But the human is so removed from this demo.
Yeah.
Because the AI is like, oh, we're getting attacked over here. And the human's like, give me more info. So it scrambles drones. Here's the more info. What should we do? Should we launch this attack? Yeah, okay. All right, we've launched the attack. What do you want to do next? Should we do this? Okay, yeah, go do that too. And then the human is basically just a yes man for the killer AI.
There's an episode of Stargate about this, and they thought they were playing a computer game on the Stargate's, computer core and Stargate Atlantis because it's a big giant spaceship. And it turns out that was actually just a medieval society on some planet somewhere. And so it was a representation in the computer of what was going on some planet somewhere. And it was like, oh, we should send our army and do this. And it was like, yes, my lord. And it really was.
That's the premise of Ender's Game as well. There's a lot of sci-fi that covers that.
Is literally that. And the problem with all of that is that we know that the AI is not exactly accurate. You know those usefully wrong responses? What happens when you have rockets involved with usefully wrong? It could get really nasty. Nvidia says they have an answer.
Nvidia releases a toolkit to make text generating AI, quote unquote, safer. It's like we're going to run the generated text through another AI to make sure that the first AI is okay.
But who checks the second AI?
Who watches?
It's just AI all the way down.
Oh, we've got an AI watching the watchers, but we need another AI to watch that AI that's watching the watchers.
So, yeah, you can get that and put it on top of your AI if you want.
Or maybe I'll just, disappear into the woods again and just not come out.
Maybe we can use some CHIPS Act money to put a committee together, and Exhibit can be the chair of the committee.
You think Exhibit the rapper?
Yeah.
Oh, because of the pimp your ride thing. That's a little dated.
It's an old reference, but it does check out.
But Chris, you don't think an AI enabled spot won't be able to track you in the forest?
Well, we do have a story about a spot robot that struggled over rubble.
Oh, he'll get better.
But maybe.
And here is, if you are the kind of person who just can't get motivated, why not let an AI punish you into being better?
Apple's next big fitness feature could be an AI-powered coaching service. Apple could personalize your health and fitness regime with AI, or it could just berate you about not doing things the way that my stuff does.
You upload clips of your father speaking, and then it's your father screaming at you to go out and work out. Think how moralizing that would be.
Also, they talk about not just personal health, but also mental health. They want you to start talking to your AI about your feelings so that it can give you feedback about what's going on there.
Again, the plot in a lot of science fiction, because the Peter Thiel type character is like, oh, we can use those people to, assassinate people that we think are bad.
Apple AI, I'm having some dark thoughts. What do you think? Maybe you'd feel better if you had a new iPhone.
Let me help you select some targets. These people need to be eliminated. Would you like to eliminate them? It's like, what? You're encouraging me? It's like, if you're going to have these dark thoughts, we might as well use them productively.
Let's make them productive. Yeah.
Now, you just talked about how that previous story was for sure PR.
Yeah.
It was just a press release. This is a press release.
Generative AI boosts productivity and retention. So that 14%. So if you're an employee and you embrace AI, you're going to be a more productive employee.
This was kind of like in the call center space from what I gathered. And they said it was mostly low-level employees who had just started who got the biggest boost.
So basically the worst people at the call center who didn't know what was going on, the AI could coach them through it.
And this is probably accurate. This probably would help.
Yeah. But not as when you put all those qualifiers on, 14%, is it that much better? Would the people immediately get back up to speed after being there for a while, and then that gain is just not there anymore?
Yeah, they said the people who were good were actually distracted by it.
Yeah.
Because they were already good at it. But we need to put this in all the fast food locations because there are some low-level employees working there right now.
Yeah. I could go for, a Lowe's AI assistant because they're all, I fixed a broken screen door, And it's like, how do you get a screen door from Lowe's? And it turns out you buy it. But it was like the threshold. There's already a threshold at the bottom. Do I need to? And they're like, oh, the door doesn't come with a threshold. It's like, okay, that was wrong. That was incorrect. And it's like, oh, you need this in order to mount it to do this. It's like, also wrong.
Well, we're about to find out just how good AI is at personal coaching and education, because we're going to get AI tutors immediately. And Bill Gates thinks that they're going to be really good at one particular study.
Bill Gates says AI chatbots will teach kids to read within 18 months. You'll be stunned by how it helps. I get why he thinks this, but
Yeah, I guess if we have any educators, I'm imagining a scenario where, like, you know, sometimes, like when you see the Balenciaga memes and they say like Balenciaga, imagine an AI trying to teach a kid to read and it's like, no, it's pronounced this way. And then the kids are saying like AI pronunciations. That'd be interesting.
oh, if we have the next Spielberg watching, there's your show. There's your premise for your Oscar-winning thing, is a kid that was taught entirely by this that speaks only meme.
Or they speak, yeah, like just their English is a totally different accent, but it's like a machine accent.
Don't we already have that because of autism and 4chan?
But you could turn it into a movie instead of Shaka when the walls fell. It's going to be cat can have a little salami.
I don't think that ends well. That would not have a happy ending.
There was a philosopher that wrote about that when language loses meaning like that, and it's all just references, that society must collapse. And he had some historical examples.
We did a story a while back too about how like emojis are perceived differently between generations as well. It'll probably become weird like that. Yeah.
What was the one that if you used it, they're like, oh, that's a boomer. Yeah, I think it was maybe thumbs up or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, this headline is not what I linked to this story about. They talked about something else. This is actually, these guys had a long interview, but these are guys who were involved in media creation, movie making, TV, stuff like that. And they had an interesting prediction about AI.
Joe Russo and Fortnite's Donald Mustard weigh in on the future of storytelling, gaming, and entertainment.
So the prediction is that the next Avengers type massive blockbuster will be created entirely by AI.
I would not be surprised considering how formulaic those are.
Would it be much different?
Yeah, seriously. I mean,
also, these guys are ruining our childhood stuff. Screw these guys.
I think what they were trying to say, okay, well, no, they probably weren't trying to say this, but is this a better version of their take on that, in that AI will unlock your own imagination so that you can bring to life what you're imagining? Because I agree, like the reason that the old stuff was so good is because I was able to build such an elaborate thing in my imagination, and being exposed to even more stuff by the AI probably would have made my own imagination that much richer.
But these guys don't do that. They take things that already exist and are good and they ruin them.
well, yeah, they're describing like the process of writing a script, but instead of thinking organically about like, okay, this character would logically do this, or like maybe I'm thinking about someone I knew in real life who was in a similar situation and how they would react. It's just going to be like, well, the AI said this, so I'm just going to write it this way because that's what the AI said.
And the AI knows what the audience wants.
Right. It's going to be focus group to death, which already happens in Hollywood. So this is just the logical progression if you're working in that space.
Isn't that the top 40 already?
Yeah.
For music? We got there without.
Prepare more of it.
I don't listen to the top 40, so I couldn't tell you, but yeah, it's terrible. Well, remember old school robots? Remember when robots weren't so smart and they were kind of dumb and we were looking forward when they got smarter? Oh, how foolish we were. But those robots are doing better.
Cruise Robotaxis now operating 24/7 in San Francisco. Job post hints at a launch in Dallas.
So they got an ad campaign. See San Francisco at any time. Take your life into your own, someone else's hands, a robot's hands.
It was like a dark alley. It's like there's tents everywhere. It's like, see San Francisco anytime.
Drive into the alley and the doors lock.
Oh no.
And we learned about the NYPD robots. Yeah, they're back. Remember when people were like, no, you can't do this, it's evil. And they're like, okay, we won't. And then
they did.
3 months later,
yeah,
we're doing it again. But they're not the only ones.
$75,000 fire department of New York Robodog goes to work, and then they falls over.
I like that they painted it like a Dalmatian. I did find that funny.
That is great.
There's a video and a Twitter clip.
It's a very, I don't know if it's going to make noise.
Yeah,
It's a very small. Oh, here we go.
unfortunately, a parking garage collapsed, and they sent the dog in. They tried to send the dog in, and the dog immediately falls over.
It almost seems like he's making a little hop there at the end. Sometimes my cats do that, when they're like dramatic flop.
Yeah, he was trying to get up, just like a tiny little ramp, and just immediately.
Maybe it's because they painted a sensor.
With the down this is only a 21-second clip. The spot people reached out and they were like, no, these can correct themselves. They cut it off too early. So I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah, because that's not bad PR for them after spending $75K.
Also, the FDNY said that he did find a corpse later on.
Wow.
And
Would have been great if he found a live person.
Good boy, you found a corpse. That's not great. The AI is going to get a taste for corpses.
it's like, oh, you want corpses, do you?
Corpse obsession, like real world.
And here we have the picture of the police spot, but this is not the spot that they did that to. This is another personal research project.
ChatGPT integration brings speech to the Spot robot dog. That's the thing that I wrote the guide for on the forum. You can hook that up to a text-to-speech engine, and it's surprisingly competent. You can talk to it.
Well, this interfaces with Spot specifically because Spot does have some internal storage about like what it should be doing right now, what it did before. You can ask it to replay all of the stuff that it's done back, and it will also shake its head and nod its head.
The demo that we saw last week of it was the domestic assistance robot. It had basic things like that. It's like, can you go clear the table? That's what it was doing in the video. It was like, let me get a box. Clear the table means that I need somewhere to put the crap. And then it goes to the table and it clears the crap. And it did okay with that.
And the Russians have their own robots. This was a little short on details.
Also, most realistic, maybe a little.
There's definitely some uncanny valley here.
It's deep in the valley.
It can speak. Meet Alex, the world's most realistic robot that costs 3.68 billion of whatever currency that is.
Yeah, that's not the ruble, right? Why would an N be?
It's got 3 million followers on TikTok and apparently a girlfriend. It's Promobot, which is Russian. They've got a bunch of different silicone for its face.
Kill me.
600 facial expressions.
What's that one? I don't think I've ever seen someone make that expression.
That one is I've become self-aware and I want to die.
I still love I think it was like a dental assistant bot. And it like looks like it's grimacing in pain. Oh.
Definitely getting feelings of Terminator 1.
Yeah, threatening aura. Oh.
He's malicious.
I'm gonna do that at the grocery store later. Just look at people and squint randomly.
That's a robot. They'll try to, the children always try to attack the robots.
Oh yeah.
If you mess around like that, you're gonna be swarmed by murderous children. And those children will have a reason to hate the robots because they will be created by them against their will.
The MIT Technology Review has the headline, "The first babies conceived with sperm-injecting robot have been born. Meet the startups trying to deliver a desktop fertility machine." Not just that, but also you could cherry pick the genetic components that go into your child.
Did you kind of get like a weird vibe in this article where they were like, right now it's such a boutique industry to do IVF, but this way we could have thousands and thousands of kids. And I was like,
see, I think this is going to become the norm because, if you have two parents that have a defective gene and they want to have kids, you're going to have to do some cherry picking there to make sure that the kid doesn't end up with both copies of the defective gene.
I don't know. This article had a kind of a weird slant to it, I thought.
Listen, if you're out there and you don't want any part of this new madness, pure blood, no vaccine, none of this business, $10,000 a serving. Some bad news out of Japan. Everybody wants to go back to the moon. Japan was ready to be the first. They were going to land. They landed.
Japan's ispace says moon lander unexpectedly accelerated and likely crashed.
Crash landed.
So that was a sudden, unscheduled disassembly?
Yeah.
It apparently it had trouble with its boosters to decelerate when heading down to the moon.
Too cold, or?
You're not sure yet.
It was just really excited to get there and just...
Couldn't wait. Had to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
It's like, God,
it's a long trip.
I've been holding this in the whole time. And NASA, they're still making breakthroughs. Maybe not so much in the launching rocket stage. Elon Musk is monopolize that. But they're still doing stuff.
NASA's super alloy, a breakthrough in 3D printing technology. So it turns out that when you've got fine control of all of this, fun things can happen.
It's incredibly strong. Was it like 1,000 times more durable than state-of-the-art 3D printed super alloys, and it can withstand 2,000 degrees of temperature.
So
NASA just out here killing it.
if you want to read a fun ancient book on this, is Drexler's Nanotechnology, which is an old book, but is surprisingly accurate with its predictions. We're getting very close to the molecular manufacturing stage of the book, which leads to this kind of thing.
And Thailand, here's a weird sort of dichotomy here with Thailand, right? Because they are famed for sex tourism. And yet, they don't allow these products.
Thai conservatives vow to legalize toys that are applicable to that in a bid to shake up the election. Pretty sure that term is flagged.
He's already said SEX. So,
Yeah.
Oh, no.
It's the Guardian. So
YouTube's
be
probably
okay.
already demonetized it. Well, usually we get demonetized in nonsense.
But they talk about how there's a healthy black market already. These things are in the country. Also, there's that whole well, I know we can't even say that, right? Can't even give you the reality because it's all been flagged. You know what else gets flagged? Anything that's negative of this guy. This was the same guy that had the cow Twitter, right? He does not like it when people make fun of him online.
Judge says Nunes not defamed by a story about Iowa dairy farm. I don't even.
So they pointed out that he might have moved his dairy farm for tax purposes. And he might have perhaps employed some illegal immigrants, which is certainly not part of his platform. He got angry about that. Says that it was defaming. The judge ruled against him.
Because
can't be defamation if it's true.
Yeah, I mean, that seemed to be what the judge was saying. Was that your takeaway? It's like the judge was like, this is accurate.
Prove that it's not true. Right. You know who else doesn't like it? When people make fun of him in the media. And he really doesn't like it when giant corporations try to tell him that he can't have what he wants.
DeSantis ramps up power struggle with Disney World.
My money's on Disney.
It's hard to pick a
They're both
winner in
let
that
them fight.
Yeah. They can
Listen, if he's busy with this, he can't be doing terrible things.
I think he can multitask.
he's
Yeah,
got the
he's pretty
capacity.
terrible.
Yeah. People in government are so good at that.
I saw a picture this week of the mouse, but like holding a gun. And it was like going to war against DeSantis 2024 or 2023 colorized.
Well, here's the thing, right? Do we know DeSantis's location on this night? Could there be a connection? Could this have been sabotage?
Disney suspends Fantasmic fire effects at parks worldwide after Disneyland Inferno.
Disney Inferno.
I watched the video of this, yeah.
Here's the dragon fully engulfed in flames. I mean, there was some sort of accelerant in his fire-breathing apparatus, I guess. And
And then there was a leak.
once that caught fire, the whole thing just kind of went up.
It took a little bit.
The videos of the people watching it, though, they seem to really enjoy the show.
They thought it was the show until I think the actor started running full tilt. And then they were like, something's not right here.
A couple of workers inside the dragon had to be treated for smoke inhalation.
Ooh.
But nobody got burned.
That's good.
That's good. He lives on his own little island, Tom Sawyer Island.
Any dragons hatched from that event?
Well, the eggs would be immune to fire, right? So
Right.
no problem with that.
This is just a summer hall 2.0.
And we're going into the animal section, but we have.
Why did you put this in here?
Well, it's important that we know how bad the world is. This is out there, and the craziest part is not only is it out there, but it's being posted to social media. Who do you imagine watching this?
It's made it sound like he did it accidentally because he didn't understand the difference between posting social media and recording on a
Oh,
phone.
you really want to understand that before you start recording this.
Man allegedly posts a video of himself engaging in what
Degeneracy.
with a dog, and just come on.
All right.
Why?
I bet Nike is not super happy about their logo being on that mugshot.
No. Is that Nike and Amazon?
It does seem like the Amazon, but it's the Amazon frown. Remember they switched it over? I don't know what that is. That is not the only one. There were 2 other instances of this horrible behavior. Once again, people just keep filming it and putting it online.
No.
Anyway, let's move on. No sads.
Well, this is, I was going to put in cops being stupid. One of my favorite topics.
California drug dealer escapes with 60 pounds of sheriff's meth during failed sting.
Apparently, they didn't factor in to the fact that he might get in his car and run away.
Nobody would just do that.
And they
It's
didn't.
the GTA strategy.
Can we Freedom of Information Act the footage and then set it to the Benny Hill theme?
Could have had a helicopter in the area. Would have solved this problem. Could have blocked traffic at some point. But no. 60 pounds of meth. I wondered how much that would be worth. They claim $210,000.
That doesn't seem like enough.
It's not good stuff.
Do you have to?
Chili pea.
What is one serving of meth and weight? It's got to be in the gram, right?
Probably not
Is
much.
there nutrition facts on the label? I'm not sure. I couldn't possibly have any more. I've already had one serving.
Now with 40% less lead.
I need to get my 5 a day.
Yeah.
And Sudan, oh boy, some bad stuff is happening in Sudan. There seems to be a bit of a civil war, a power struggle. The problem is, there's some things there that are dangerous.
The headlines were things like high risk of biological hazard in Sudan after fighters seize Biolab, the World Health Organization says. There's samples there of polio, cholera, measles, more things
Apparently,
like
this
that.
is a low security, but I'm like, dang, that's some pretty serious stuff still.
Maybe, recently we've had some issues with these labs. Could we raise security?
PSA, if you're a scientist in one of these labs and it seems like something bad is going to happen, you should go to the lab and hit the destroy samples button. Like you do store them in a case that has a destroy samples button, right?
You will be prosecuted by the EcoHealth Alliance if you do that.
I mean, I understand that they have to have labs in places where stuff like this springs up because, like, you need to be able to study it. But ooh,
I'm pretty sure that MIT has a protocol for disposing of nuclear materials should somebody invade by sea because they have their own nuclear accelerator.
The other crazy thing here is, like, it's such an information vacuum that they don't know which side seized it.
oh,
So we have no idea what's going on there.
Interesting.
And moving on to the entertainment section, once again, they take the things from our childhood, they destroy them, they twist them, they make them ugly, and they serve it back to us.
Indiana Jones 5 will feature a de-aged Harrison Ford for the first 25 minutes.
and probably for the last part too.
The
Just you won't be able to tell as much.
The technology used old Lucasfilm footage for Ford for accuracy. They're training an AI to do this, so they'll be able to do it with anybody. It's amazing.
You're gonna
but
have to
also,
write that into your contract.
the 12 billion parameter GPT. Or no, that wasn't the GPT model. That was another. It was another model that I downloaded. It did a good job generating Danny DeVito like characters.
Oh my God. We had to get that in, didn't
The
we?
top comment on this Friday's news was Wendell's really obsessed with Danny DeVito right now.
So I just watched 1923, which stars Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren. And I was thinking, like, are they really putting a lot? I mean, how much longer are these guys going to be able to do this? And Picard?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. They're not. They're going to be able to do it till time immemorial.
Ugh.
I mean, what better world is it for Disney than to just already have the library of actors that they need, and they don't need to pay new people?
Well, some artists are embracing the new world, and they're saying, yeah, just feed me to the machines as long as you share the money with me.
Grimes tells fans to deepfake her music and will split 50% of the royalties with whoever comes up with whatever. It says with AI, but with whoever comes up with whatever.
Also, bad news this week. If you do like her music, she's not releasing book one, and she's been released from Columbia.
Right. That was part of her argument here, is that she's no longer with a record company who could argue about this and go after the copyright. So she says she's free agent. She's ready to collaborate with the machines.
I bet there's ultimately...
But she wants to be paid. So yes, my voice is free, but if it's successful, whatever threshold that is, I still get paid.
I think that you could do it not with AI. Like if you just wanted to take whatever and use it and mix it together, if you came up with something profitable and gave her half the money, that's not a terrible deal.
What if it wasn't what if I said, oh, it wasn't that successful?
Well, I mean, you'll have to...
Do you have to pay her 50% then?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably 50% regardless of how. It's probably 50% of gross.
She said if it was successful.
I
What's
mean-
the threshold for success?
Rap producers have been doing that for 30 years and not paying anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think she thought that out at all.
And
Not surprising.
One of those rappers amazingly pivoted to a new career. And He was successful, but he probably should have paid a little more attention to his business partners.
Fugees, is that how you say that?
Yeah, Fugees, like refugees.
Fugees rapper Pras Michel convicted in foreign influence case.
Fugees.
So it turns out he was a Chinese spy, according to the article, according to the charges leveled against him.
There was another Asian country, right? Was it Malaysia?
Or Malaysian spy, I'm sorry.
But also China. China was involved. So I don't think he vetted these guys at all. And they were absolutely using him. And maybe he knew, but it seems like he was a useful idiot. They've all been charged, but he's the only one in the United States. So he's the only one who will stand trial. Or I guess the trial's over, right? Yeah, he's convicted. It's a tough time for him. They spent $200 million trying to get Barack Obama reelected. And they funneled it through him.
Wow.
It worked. Now, we talk a lot about the bees, and we need to save the bees. I agree with that. But have we been assigning too much value to the bees? Do we need to look more at other insects to be our saviors?
Moths are more efficient pollinators than bees, shows new research.
I imagine that depends on what plant, often.
Bramble. Bramble and moths is like pollen god mode. And they work at night, so they can work at the same rate. Like you can have bees and moths, and they don't interfere with one another.
It's ideal.
But it turns out the moths, they're just like pollen machines.
We have a lot of butterflies and moths in our yard.
You should get more.
I'm working on it. I'm trying to plant more flowers.
I've got a lot of carpenter bees, and I'm worried about where they're living.
They're probably in your porch.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're big pollinators.
They're cute. They're real bumbly, but
I found a thing online. It was like, turn old wood into just move it out there and then get almond water and put it in their holes, and they'll naturally migrate to the other thing. And it's like, okay, I guess I'll give that a try.
okay.
Well, I don't want to murder them, but I mean, I also don't want them to live in my house on the inside.
You can get those like wood jar things like at flea markets that work pretty well. My mom has one on her porch. I mean, they'll come back, but
Well, if you have a lot of parrots living at your house, that's probably gonna be bad for the bees, right? Will parrots eat bees? I bet they will.
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's part of their normal diet, but maybe.
Well, you know what else isn't part of their normal lifestyle? iPads.
Parrots who learn to video call their feathered friends feel less lonely, a study finds.
One of the interesting things about this is that they were like, oh, the parrots are reacting to the other parrots, but a lot of times they were attached to the other human on the other side. Like they were excited to call a human.
Seems like they would scratch the screen really easy.
Yeah.
Ethical implications. Parrots are really smart, and maybe we shouldn't keep them as pets, especially because they have really long lifespans.
Look, I've got pets in my home. They're trapped
Same.
there. But I have two of them because I was very careful. I was like, I don't want one cat. Like if I'm like right now, I'm not there. What's one cat going to be doing? Just
Sleeping.
two of them?
Sleeping.
No, they're just tearing the place apart. Jumping up on the counters.
They're encouraging each other to break the rules.
Yeah, that's what
what's
they're
happening.
doing. They're plotting together.
Not too long ago, they got into the cat food cabinet somehow.
I bet that was a good day for them.
I don't remember if I left it open or if they found a way.
I would feel better if mom's cat was rebellious enough to dig into the cat food bag, but it's
It's an old cat.
just waiting for the end at this point.
Oh,
And birds are, they're great and everything, I guess, but there's a lot of them. There's not a lot of natural predators to thin the numbers in places where we are artificially feeding them, and they become a real pest.
A zoo in England is hiring a quote-unquote seagull deterrent worker who will have to wear a giant bird costume to scare away the gulls.
There was
where was this? Like what part of England?
I saw this. They ran another story. Do you think this is AI generated?
Look at the shadows. It has to be. There's no shadow under the eagle thing, but there are under the birds.
Wow.
Well, the shadow would be here, right? So it could
Maybe
be
it's
there.
covered. Yeah.
I don't know.
It looks a little. It's just uncanny. A
It's
little
also,
weird.
didn't they say that this was going to be a pigeon costume?
I used to watch a lot of the
No, it just
Yogscast,
says bird.
and during the summer, like apparently the seagulls would get super aggressive because it would pick up on their mics, even though they were inside. You'd just hear. Wah, wah, wah.
I love, what's that? It's like a Swedish food where it's rancid fish.
Lutefisk.
I don't think that's it. I think we were corrected last time you said
Oh,
that.
okay.
But yeah, And the way you eat it is you like lift it up and
Oh, do
and
the birds?
There's so many videos of birds grabbing that.
Oh.
Because it's like, oh, get a social media video of me eating this horrible food, and then they put it up, and the birds just like yank.
Yoink.
The birds have probably learned when it's like, oh, they got the camera out. Get ready. Start your approach.
It's a great way to lose an eye.
And courtrooms can be, there's a lot of anxiety, especially if you're a witness, something terrible's happened to you. Now you got to confront the horrible person. You got to explain what they did while they're looking at you. Maybe you need a friend, but maybe it's too friendly.
Maine lawmakers decide courthouse dogs are too cute for criminal court.
That is a good looking dog.
That's in such an adorable way.
It biases the jury to be in favor of the court, not the.
I can totally see that.
Yeah.
Your average moron juror, and they're like, I don't know who to believe, but God, that puppy's cute.
I am that moron juror. I'd be like, oh, look at the dog. The dog likes this person better, so they must be innocent.
The dog doesn't care. The dog's just like, this is my job. Love me. And a controversial one. This might have been too hot for YouTube, but it's just destroying the language. Weren't you just talking about?
Yeah.
Like when we break the language down so that words don't have meanings anymore, it collapses the society.
Fifth grade teachers replacing male and female with people who produce sperm or eggs in Vermont. And
Couldn't you just say biological? Like, wouldn't that be quicker?
What if there's one kid from an egg farm? He's like, oh,
We produce eggs.
I produce eggs. What am I? What is my identity?
That's so, yeah, that's just, well, for me, my objection is mainly just that it's too long.
It would have to be PPS and PPE, right? PPs. We've circled back. We've circled back. The PPs.
Oh no!
Oh,
We don't
Well.
why?
To sell lifetime health care.
Oh, I thought you meant textbooks, but lifetime healthcare is also it.
we just gotta go, just
Time-
send me back to the woods.
Time for new textbooks.
You're not allowed to go back to the woods for one calendar year, Krista.
Everything was so simple. It was just about making miles every day and eating. I was so hungry.
That's why we play survival video games, right?
Yeah,
We crave
that
to
simplicity.
go back to the basics, but we never will. We're in this hell forever.
Anyway, on that happy note, we'll see you guys next week. Bye!